I'm sitting in my car and I was thinking, um, my car feels a lot safer than being inside, talking out loud to myself. My car feels safer than being at home in general because my car has my energy in it. This light is kind of annoying. Is that better? Kind of. That's better. There we go. But my car feels safer in general because my car has my energy in it, as opposed to being inside where you share energy with other people. And have memories that you don't like. But I wanted to talk about like this song Phobia that I wrote about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. And there's a line in this song where I basically say, it's hard to see your life until you see it replay, or until you see the replay. Like, it's hard to see like what actually your life looks like because you are living your life, and a lot of us make decisions on a day-to-day basis. Or we're just trying to put one foot in front of the other to go forward in whatever direction forward looks like to us. And when I actually made the conscious decision to live my life for myself instead of going forward in the way that was expected of me, I realized that going forward according to somebody else's plan is actually going backwards when it comes to my own plan. And that was a very hard lesson to learn. And I feel like I'm just now getting out of that state. I'm just getting out of the processing state. And I'm finally able to talk about things that I've gone through. And I'm finally able to talk about myself in general without it being super emotional and heavy. So, with Never the Right Time, I really wanted this to be my first single that I drop coming into this new part of my life, because it's never the right time to do something, but where you are in your life, mentally and physically and all of that, determines what your next steps will be. Because for a long time, it wasn't the right time for me to put myself out there because I wasn't strong enough, gathered enough, physically healthy enough to put myself out there. And now that I'm actually in a much healthier state, I'm able to say that this is the right time for me. I'm able to say it's time to start walking because my leg injury has healed a lot more. And also because I have learned how to walk in a new way. And I mean that both metaphorically and literally. Because in 2020, I had a leg injury where I was on crutches for about 6 months and I couldn't walk. And I'm still seeing the side effects of that leg injury today. I still need to like keep up with my physical therapy and make sure that I'm healthy and everything. Um, but also, I feel like I'm walking in a new way because in 2020, I didn't just hurt my leg, I also had to rewire my brain for like the fifth time. And I had to learn how to move differently in the world and form a new self image for myself. I literally had to look at myself in the mirror in a different way. And I might have the same face, but I carry myself very differently now. And I feel very different now because I had to change and I had to look at myself and think, do I want to look at myself in this way? Do I want to be this person? And I'm not gonna lie, like I was like super suicidal, like multiple times when these transitions were happening. And the way that I thought about it was like, if I kill myself, then I'm not just killing off the bad parts, I'm also killing off all of the gifts that I've been receiving. I would also be killing off all the dope parts that I like about myself. So, how can I kill off this part of myself? How can I be like the phoenix that burns itself in its own flame, burns itself to the ground, and is reborn through the ashes? How can I do that? And I think that mentality really saved my life on multiple occasions. Because when you try to kill off a part of yourself, then you're acknowledging that there are both good parts and bad parts within you. You're not thinking of yourself as entirely good or entirely bad. It's like I am able to acknowledge that there are some parts within me that are deeply unsettling, and I want to acknowledge those parts and kill off those parts, but not my full being, because there's parts of myself that I like, you know? So trying to build like my new self-image, my new identity has taken a very long time, and it's a lot of little baby steps. It doesn't happen super quickly. But it's really important work, and I've felt this coming for a very long time, that this is a metamorphosis once again, and I don't think that process ever stops. I think it continues, and hopefully you continue to grow as you get older. Like, I have always really admired older women in my life, and I have always had the point of view that wisdom is earned, not taken. It's earned. Because you could live to be 106 years old, but if you're not actually learning in your life, if you never have any new experiences, if you never process new information, you live 106 years, but you might have the emotional mentality or the body language of a 12-year-old, because you haven't actually processed a lot of things. And yes, I do know some older people that did not get wiser as they got older, and that thought scares me, to be honest. I've never admired ignorance. I've never admired lack of understanding. That's never been admirable to me. And we're always learning. It's never the right time to learn. I think that there are wrong places that you could end up in, being around the wrong environment for you. So I think creating the environment you want to be in is the most important to your growth. Because when you create a new environment for yourself, you accelerate your growth. When you stay in an environment somebody else has created for you, you are putting yourself in somebody else's care. And that doesn't always yield positive results. In a lot of ways, I kind of wish that I had left home when I was like 14. I looked into it, I checked out schools in like Oregon and like other states and everything. I didn't tell anybody. I told my friends I did this, but I didn't tell my parents or anything that I did this. But like, I feel like the skill to cultivate a new environment for yourself is vastly underrated. And it's like a really important part of creating a new reality, whether that's just making new friends or building a business, or if you're like me and you're a creative and an artist, if you're looking for emotional support, like I said, friends or whatever. But I think that's such an important skill to cultivate, is creating the environment that you want to see and manifesting people that you want to be around. Instagram has been very good to me for doing that. Like when I moved from Colorado to San Diego and I didn't know anybody, the Instagram hashtags and just like stalking like creatives in San Diego, like stalking like all the artists and like all their like their like public hangouts and stuff like that, just going to the places where there was energy, going to the places where people were making things happen and being around that. And San Diego wasn't really my place. I was there for a bit, but it was okay. There were some cool people, but I really, really loved surfing Instagram when I went to the Bay Area. And that felt like home. It was a very warm welcome. That felt like home. Coming back to LA, I'm like just now getting into, the creative scene in LA again. I just got back to LA and I'm just now, branching out. And it's funny, like being back, like in my hometown, because of course a lot of things are different, but also just like creating the person that I wish I had been when I was 15. Creating the person I wish I had been when I was 18. And it feels like a second chance being back here in a way. And it's kind of bittersweet because, like, on one hand, it's like, yay, you know, I get a do-over. And that's the sweet part of it. I get a do-over. And I feel blessed that I got that. But I guess the bitter part of it is I feel like I'm in mourning because I didn't realize how much I ignored my intuition back then. I didn't realize how brainwashed I was back then. I didn't realize how much of my self-image was tied up in other people instead of just being who I am and who I want to be. I was so tied up in being what other people needed me to be. And I do feel younger now. It feels like I'm more free of other people's expectations, and I'm better able to stand up for myself. I'm better able to articulate what I want, who I am, and what I need. So yeah, springtime is a good time. Springtime is a good time. Never the right time. And I don't feel like I'm wasting time anymore. When I take care of myself now, I think of it as productive. But if you had asked me even like a year or 2 years ago, I would have felt like taking care of myself was anxiety inducing because I wasn't working. But taking your time and like actually taking care of yourself, sleeping enough, eating enough, taking time to care about your body, that should be your brain's first priority. And actually taking care of yourself should be your first priority, because that builds sustainability, that builds longevity, that allows you to do the marathon, not just the sprint, that allows you to keep in the rhythm, to keep in the game that you are setting for yourself. And I wish I had known that a lot sooner, instead of like pushing myself and pushing myself and pushing myself until I burnt the fuck out. Because rest is important, eating is important, sleeping is important. And it's crazy that I was so brainwashed into thinking my needs weren't important. So I'm, looking back, I'm proud of myself for how far I've come and who I'm growing into, and creating rituals and creating practices that work for me. Literally walking in a different way. Like, I literally walk like a different person. I literally carry myself like a different person. And it feels a lot better. I feel lighter. I feel more compassionate towards myself. And it feels really, really good.